What's up, people? Welcome back to the channel. There's still no ban list. I'm having issues with my editing software, and this week is just kind of starting to go off a little weird. So you know what? I've decided just to go and release a video without really, without any editing at all like I used to. So I'm kind of sorry for like the weird little click in the beginning, but no background music. But if you like what we do here, please feel free to like, subscribe. If not, it is all cool. Still trying to get a 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully, we'll get this fixed. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the cards. So, the first thing I want to talk about here is Dimensional Shifter. I didn't I guess like when you think of the power hand traps in this format, you're thinking Drone Lockbird and you're thinking Gamma. Those are kind of the two really super strong ones. Another power hand trap that, to be honest, if it wasn't for Castura, would be in the same category as those other cards is Dimensional Shifter. Dimensional Shifter has the ability to shut down multiple different strategies. You could shut down Super Heavy Samurai, even purely to an extent. You can kind of like make sure they don't get some of the cards in the graveyard so they can recycle later on. So there is a lot of use for Dimensional Shifter, and if Castura gets hit really hard to where it's not really one of the best decks, or it's just tier 1.5, tier 2, I can see Dimensional Shifter taking a huge bump. Right now you get them for about in the $2 range, $2 to $3 range, and then right now you got a lot of budget versions. You got the ultra rare for about 38 cents. You got the common versions for a quarter. To be honest, if you don't have Dimensional Shifter or you got rid of them, I would go ahead and pick them back up. Always kind of have these in the back burner. This is like one of the best hand traps to be released in Yu-Gi-Oh! Without this, tier element format would have been way worse than it really was. And a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit is also another hand trap that is starting to become uh, to become put in the conversation of the power hand traps of the format. We are very much heading into you're running 6 to 12 hand traps in your deck, maybe even more, maybe even the base. But by the time we get a ban list, the base number of hand traps you have to run might be kind of like 9 to 18. So Ghost Ogre is slowly kind of coming into the conversation of, is it one of those cards? And for the most part, I really do feel that it is. Like you could you can not only take out the scales, but there's also not a lot of people that are really prepared for this card. So like I said, there's a lot of people that probably would get really caught off guard by getting hit by a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Mostly with the scales and also with the newer Pendulum support coming out that some of you might have heard about. It is probably better to like kind of just have these kind of in the back. You got the secret rares right here from Crossroads of Chaos. They said about 18 bucks, probably for like the unlimited. But the Prismatic Secret Rare, these are the ones that I really want to look at real quick. I like this version of it. I wish I would have kept these. I ended up putting these in my vending machine that I have. So I ended up giving these out as prizes. But these right here are going for 350, 366, 369. Nice. So we're looking at about a $3.50 to $4 card for the prismatic version. And to be honest, like I said, there's a higher rarity. There's an ultimate rare than the original secret rare. Those are the best, obviously, but this is like a hard number 3 in my opinion. I really do like that. The altar is nice, but you essentially kind of get these for $1. Right here, light played first at $1. Just be in mind that like they say light play, but they probably have a lot of edgeware. That kind of how they came out in the set. But also, this is also still a very good, kind of good pricing. But like I said, you're getting heavily moderate plays. Like some of these could say light play, but then it comes like with a lot of wear. So kind of be wary of these. You could probably get like a really nice one for about $3. I would say you get like a very nice version of the Altar Ghost Ogre for maybe around the $3 mark. You got the gold rare. These are kind of sitting around the $1 mark, similar with the ultras from Dupo. These are $1. So yeah, like I said, get them now before they start to go up. There's a whole bunch of ultras. There's a whole bunch of budget versions. Similar to Drone Lockbird, you don't want to be caught without almost any hand trap. The second a hand trap gets a reprint, you should get your set if you don't have a hand trap. Retaliating Sea. So Retaliating Sea is a special card. Originally I kind of thought that this was kind of nothing, but then I kind of realized that no one's really used it against me. I've been playing Runic for an extremely long time, and no one's ever used Retaliating Sea against me. So I've kind of always written it off, but the more we kind of go into a heavy hand trap format, the more I start to fear Retaliating Sea. I kind of feel that, especially if we get a ban list and they don't hit Runic, and Runic potentially has a chance to become like one of the hardcore like one of the hard top three decks because they've as like runic variants have always been kind of on teetering between tier 1 and tier 1.5. They usually stay either 1.5 or lower for the most part, but there could be a point to where runic variants become that powerful if everything else is hit. So Retaliating Sea would be instantly a really good card for them to go ahead and like throw against it. You got the ultra rare from Ghost from the Past. These are extremely cheap at probably like 25 cents. You got the commons for 15 cents. So I would just get them sooner rather than later. They're extremely cheap. I wouldn't want to be caught without them. Another card that I kind of noticed I'm not sure if this would be the best because a lot of decks run I guess like a lot of decks will run link outs to where it's like they will have a link monster that allows them to go into this, that allows them to get around this card's effect. Essentially, what this card does is you special summon your opponent's side of the field, and they could only link fusion XYZ synchro with using Contact C. And Contact C is an insect, he's earth, he's high level. So against certain decks that are like, maybe like very synchro devoted or XYZ devoted, this could really shut them down. So I was thinking like this would be good against Purely, but at the same time, like there's no way they're not gonna have some type of extra deck out. But this would be very interesting to kind of like drop on your opponent and then have a way to kind of lock him into certain certain monsters to where they might not be able to like go into it, or maybe you use it'd be like a lot of different steps. But Contact C is another kind of a C monster that I was interested. You get comms right here for about 29-30 cents. Like I said, 25 to 30 cents. So just something to kind of keep in mind. If you see these, just put them to the side and just have them. You never know if this could be useful one day. Sideframe Lord Lambda. I was kind of tripping out because I saw like the $40, and then I kind of looked into it. Like, of course, it's not really $40, but you got a lot of mod plates here for $18.94. Once you get to the near miss, they're actually about in the $19 to $20 range. So like if you have like a nice looking version of Lambda, just it's about $20. But Lambda does have a budget version that has the rare. I thought this was a very, very good reprint. Didn't come out that long ago, so if you should have these. If you don't, just get them now. There's 15, 16 cents. The Gammas are always going to come in and out of the format, and 2 years from now, if Lambdas have another reprint, these could be $3 to $5 rares just like Gamma. So do not get caught without that. Condemned Dark Lord. This is another link monster that just kind of to me came out of nowhere, but then like when I looked into it more, and I'm like it makes sense. This is the reason why I feel am I forgetting the name? Contact C. This is the reason why I think Contact C will not be good. It isn't this card specifically, but just the principle that this card represents. And essentially, what this card is used in is Purely, because Purely are able to go into this through their combo, so they're able to just spare 2 fairy monsters to be able to go into the Condemned Dark Lord. And then if your opponent activates Herald the Abyss, you essentially have like a way to work around it. Like I'm slowly kind of coming over to the side to where Herald the Abyss is more easily outed than XYZ Encore, unfortunately, especially through playtesting, and I'm probably gonna have to ditch the Heralds, even though I like them better in the multiple matchups against what they're supposed to stop. I think XYZ Encore, because it has to be used on an XYZ monster. It's probably a little bit better than that. And also too, like I said, you have this card that they kind of go into to kind of be able to play around it, so that way they have a monster that's going to share a type with the Purely Noir, so that way they could just send this instead of Noir. So that's kind of why you're seeing this go up. Like at one point it was like it was kind of going up, but now it's kind of just going way, way, way up. You got one copy for $338, $464, so about like $4 to $5 range for this card. Which is, like I said, it's kind of like it isn't really out of nowhere. The card was kind of always slowly going up, but now you're gonna really see it having some use in the meta. Triple Tactics Talent. I have been kind of going over just different ways to combat hand traps right now, because I've kind of noticed that since we're in not only are we in a heavy hand trap format, we're also in a format to where if you go second, not only do you have to face the hand traps, but you have to face the board. And like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh's gotten better at I don't want to say getting better, but it's gotten better in Yu-Gi-Oh to break boards because of how many different options you have. So it really does depend on the player and the type of deck they're using, what kind of board breaks, how many do they run, what could possibly work with it. But another thing that I think is really good is triple tax talent, because you you basically kind of have the ability to have like a hand trap, a kaiju, and triple tax talent, and you could essentially achieve a lot with just those three cards, depending on the board. Like if it's like 5 or 6, negates, of course that's like a different story. But if but if you're able to use a hand trap to kind of give them a sub optimal board, if if your opponent essentially kind of has a hand trap on you, you could try to start your combo. You could get hand trapped, kaiju them, and then use triple attack's talent to kind of you take the kaiju back, or to get rid of a card, get draw. There's so much there's just so much value that triple tactics talent is kind of bringing to the game, and I don't know, maybe I feel like I'm going on a different kind of rant right now, but right now the price of the card is just really not dropping. You got like the Maven's version at about $14, and then you got the Mega Pack version going for kind of similar. Like let's see. The Mega Pack version, I know it's a little bit cheaper. You got $12.73, but then it quickly shoots up to like $14, and then kind of goes into like the $15 range. So like there's a couple on the market that are lower, but for the most part, you're pretty much paying $15 for both your reprints. And like I said, I mentioned it before in another video that this coming up format is gonna be how much value can you get off one card. Like your like it isn't like like how good a card is. It's going to be more about how much value does that one card give you, whether it's your combo starter or your I guess it's more in your combo starters and the cards that you're going to use to combat the boards that are going to be put. I don't know. I'm getting lost in the sauce here, trying to explain something like on the fly. Essentially, cards like Triple Tax Talent that do multiple things, or cards like Drone Lockbird, which have effects, which have one singular effect that kind of affects the entire turn and really drastically changes the way your opponent's going to play their turn out. Those cards are going to be seen as way more valuable than something like uh, Effect Veiler or Infinite Permanence, because they usually just have like that one. They target the monster and they negate that one effect, and that's all they do. To where Triple Tax Talent, they give you multiple different options, and then Drone Lockbird locks your opponent out of searching cards. So it's like I could just see Triple Tax Talent kind of maybe even going up to like $20, maybe even 25. Just people kind of slowly start throwing 1, 2, 3 copies of it into the main deck. Triple Tax Thrust, real quick. It has been kind of going down, and it's going at 60 is like two of them for about 3 of them for at $60, but then they quickly go to 67. If you want to swoop these up, I'd swoop them up, but to be honest, you're paying about 67 to $70 a piece for these still. This is still actually really, really good. It gets you so many different cards, and to be honest, like there really is almost no way to play high stakes competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, I wouldn't say almost no way, but like a lot of the times this really helps you get there. You kind of really want that in there. Crossout Designator, this is just something else that I wanted to bring up, which is, obviously like another way to stop hand traps, especially in a format where everyone's running the same hand traps, the same hand traps that kill your opponent. So in a format like this, Crossout Designator, I could see it. I could see it slowly start to go up. You got the Prismatic Rare for $840, and this one kind of going at $835. Pick these up now. Don't get caught without this, because like I said, and like I said, it's just kind of it's in the format. Like if you lose to Droll, and your opponent loses to Droll, and everyone's gonna put Droll in their main deck, a card like Crossout Designator becomes that much more valuable. It's essentially being ran for free. Like Crossout Designator is bad when you have to force the cards in there to stop. Like unless you're using it in like a side deck situation, then you just want to use it for that one game. But for the most part, if you're only using Crossout Designator and like you're like, oh, I like my deck loses to this one hand trap, but not everyone runs it, so I'm gonna use Crossout and then use a slot. No, you're losing. But if everyone's running the same hand trap and you're gonna run that same hand trap, Crossout Designator, it simply becomes this card, but for almost anything. Called by the Grave. This is another card. Mostly wanted to talk about the prismatic version, because like this thing is just kind of going crazy. It was kind of here at 9, and now it's just boom 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 going up. We're looking at a lot of heavies and mod plays, but once you kind of get past all the heavies and the mod plays, this thing does go, oh, come on. Once you get past all the heavies and the mod plays, there we go. I have too many freaking tabs open. Alright, here we go. So once you get past all like the heavies kind of in the mod play, the light plays are in like the 10s, 10, 11. So you're paying $10 to $11 for the prismatic if it's in really good condition. To be honest, like Konami is probably not going to bring this card back, so that's kind of why I trust a little bit more in Crossout Designator. But if you have these, if you still have 3 copies of these and you need some money, go and offload them. And yeah, that's kind of it. Do not get caught with that Crossout Designator, especially in this format. To get him sooner rather than later. Alright guys, peace out. Catch you in the next one. My bad about this video. There's no music, no nothing, but just had to get it out because it was getting too long. Peace out.